Do you think there may be perhaps a small acknowledgement in those remarks by David Plouffe that it would have been tough to overcome the momentum that Trump had, regardless of how well the Harris campaign had been run?
Yeah, I don't think that this was a question necessarily of how well the Trump campaign or how well the Kamala Harris campaign could have run. I think there were two problems here. One, it's really hard to distance yourself from a administration that most people view as failed if you are part of that administration. So she could not go out and distance herself and present this change message effectively because she wasn't changed. She was a continuation of the existing administration of the past 4 years. And then two, Donald Trump did have a big advantage against her, especially in the battleground states. He had been out there speaking to the people for a long time, and she was having to introduce herself at the same time that she was trying to run against him. So there was a delay there. I think the Democratic Party might have figured this out a little bit sooner, though, as part of the failed candidate discussion, if they had actually held a primary, if there had been time for that, if they had gone out and been able to select someone else from the roster of people who also wanted to run and been able to introduce them in a timely manner.
So can you talk a little bit about how you tried to do that and whether you think she could or should have done more to distance herself from President Biden? Something that I think, as evidenced by the answer on The View, she was at least personally uncomfortable with.
We, of course, got that everywhere we went. And we knew what the data was. We knew we had to show her as her own person and point to the future and not try to rehash the past. But she also felt that she was part of the administration. And unless we said something like, well, I would have handled the border completely differently, we were never going to satisfy anybody. So we did talk about things like she's a different generation. Most of her career is from outside of Washington, not inside Washington. So she knows a lot of the best ideas are from across the country. Her career has been about reaching across the aisle, finding common sense ways to get things done. It's not been based in ideological politics. All of these things, we were trying to tell a story and give the impression that she was different without pointing to a specific issue.
Can I ask this, why not a specific issue? Is this something she was unwilling to do? You worried it would feel disingenuous, or?
Because she felt like she was part of the administration. So why should she look back and cherry pick some things that she would have done differently when she was part of it? Mm-hmm. And she had tremendous loyalty to President Biden. And, if we had said, just imagine this. You've been on plenty of campaigns. Imagine if we said, well, we would have taken this approach on the border. Imagine the round of stories coming out after that of people saying, well, she never said that in a meeting, or what meeting when she said this, or I remember when she did that. And it wasn't going to give us what we needed because it wouldn't be a clean break. It would be, days upon days in a limited time window that we had of dealing of who, what, when, where. So the best we could do, and the most that she felt comfortable with, was saying, like, look, vice presidents never break with their presidents. Vice presidents stick by their presidents. And she wasn't willing to, change that precedent for whoever the future president-vice presidential partnership would be, because it would mean a whole, different set of problems, as if we don't have enough problems in our democracy right now. So unless we were willing to say, Biden said green and she said blue on any particular issue, we were never really going to satisfy that. So our focus was, let's look to the future. Let's describe her and her approach to things. Let's use policies, future-looking policies, to demonstrate that difference. But in the end, we've all seen the data. Too many people thought that she'd be a continuation, which on the economy was, the incumbent killer.